live on Mother's Day. Yes, I did it again. I should not have done a show on a fucking holiday. There is so many of these fucking holidays. The calendar is just riddled with fucking holidays. I am just absolutely blown away. We're going to try to get through it today. If you want to get a hold of us online, you can do so at jiggyjaguar.com. We're also on 990 WBOB in Rhode Island, of all places. And lots of things happening, which means that I don't have a goddamn clue of what is happening. So we are going to go, hopefully, to our first guest. They are going to join us here in just a few moments. And you're joining us today here on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. If you're joining us live, thank you. I need to do some adjustments here so you can actually see me. That would freaking help. Like I said, it's Mother's Day, and I don't really understand why there are so many goddamned holidays. A few years ago, I got out the calendar, and I decided, okay, I am going to block off shows for our deal. And I decided, there was one summer that I didn't even do hardly any live Sunday shows because there were so many goddamn holidays. So today we have somebody who's supposed to be calling us. They're supposed to be giving us a call. I haven't heard or seen or hide nor hair of them. So I guess until we get a call, let's do this. Let's see if we can find the bunny. She, of course, was going to join us in Chicago. Amazingly, she did not. She amazingly did not. Which we all knew she wasn't going to make it to Chicago. It's 2 years in a row. You knew she wasn't going to go. The woman barely is surviving. So you think she's going to make it to Exotica in Chicago? Come on. So we're trying to get a hold of her. I don't even know if we're even going to get according to this, she's not even online. I don't know what's happening there. But, okay. If you're watching us or listening to us, Peter had decided that he had to get up here. So I had to wrestle Peter to get him to get up here with us. However, next week we have actually a really great deal next week. We have an in-studio show. Oh, this could go good or this could go very bad. This could be all sorts of fun. But we're going to be talking to some missionaries. Now, this has been the most agonizing, I guess. Our YouTube stream failed. That's not shocking. This has been the most agonizing thing that I have run into. I had a few, it happens all the time, but they have these, for whatever reason, Hutchinson, Kansas is full of these missionaries. I don't know what's going on there, but a few years ago on our Sunday show, we interviewed some missionaries. I think they were in Salina, Kansas. They had come to bother us in Salina. And they showed up on a Sunday. And I had a studio full of rappers. We had a ton of people there. I think they were all drinking the Soup of Dave and getting fucking hammered. So I asked the missionaries to be on the show. They were, trying to spread their word or whatever. And I said, okay, let's get you on the show. So they sat there in their little outfits, their suit, their little suit shirts and little black ties, and they sat there and they had their Bibles and their name tags, and they did their thing. And then a few years ago, we had some missionaries who wanted to come by and do the show. They had come to the house. They knocked on the door. I think they knocked on like a Friday or something. And I asked them, I said, well, why don't you just come back and do the Sunday show with us? So they did. So we had J. Bird Wells here. And wow, oh wow, did that get fun, because she knew more about their book than they did. She knew more about their Bible than they did. And it was just quite the deal. And at the end of the day, I think they ended up going outside after the show, and she had some sort of debacle with them on the front porch, where she got into some big shouting match with them over the Bible. It was the craziest thing you've ever seen. So, the missionaries are going to be back. The missionaries are coming back. How this happened is about a week or two ago. Well, maybe not even that. A month ago now. I was doing, I think it was a Wednesday or something. I was here hanging out. I think, working on uploading some videos or doing something. And I get a knock at the door, and it's a couple of fucking missionaries. And these guys had their, black ties on and their dress shirts and their fucking little name tags, and they had their Bibles and all their horse shit. And I asked them, they were like, hey, we'd like to, talk to you about God and all this other stuff. And I told them, I said, boys, whatever spiel you're going to give me, just come back on the radio show on Sunday. We'll just do it then. And they said, really? And I said, yep, come on the radio show on Sunday. We'll do it then. So, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 Pacific, and 1 p.m. Mountain Standard rolls around on that Sunday. They are nowhere to be found. Now, I kind of figured that they would run back to the Hive or whoever, and they would make comments about they'd been invited on the radio show, and it wouldn't work out well, and they wouldn't come back. So I put it out of my mind. I didn't think anything about it. And then, not even 2 weeks later, they come by and they leave a Post-it note on the door that said that, hey, remember us? We're the missionaries. Do you still want us on your radio show? And I They left a phone number, so I texted them. And they got right back with me. Well, then they start in. I got to read these texts because these are amazing. So they start in about how they want to have a meeting. This starts on April 1st, ironically April 1st. And I asked them about coming on the radio show, and they said, well, we talked to a few of our leaders, and they said that we needed to meet with you first. Hold on. I'm going to put these people on hold. Give me just a few seconds, and we'll get you on the air. Hold on. So, okay. So these guys go ahead, and they want to have a meeting a few days before the show. So I told them that the spot is 2 o'clock Central. Show up, do the show. So they start giving me all sorts of nonsense. And they want to have this meeting. They got to have a meeting with me. So I told them, I said, I don't have any time. I said, you hit me up in the month of May. And we'll talk. Because I just figured they'd never get back in touch with me. Well, look who won the pony. These bastards got a hold of me in May. May 1st. While I'm at the porn convention, I get a text message from the fucking missionaries. I get a text from the missionaries that I'm at the porn convention. So there's a lot of material there, and it just writes itself. So I finally tell them, I said, here's what we'll do. What do you need to have this meeting about? Well, they want to know what kind of questions. And I said, here's the deal. I'm not going to give you a series of questions. This is not an interrogation. This is an interview. And like I always tell people when they go, do you have a list of questions? I always go, it's an interview. It's a conversation, not an interrogation. So they finally just would not relent on this. They needed questions. So I made up a couple questions and sent it to them. And it's going to be stuff that I'm definitely not going to ask them. And I'm not going to ask them on purpose. I'll probably read the questions off my phone once they get here, so I have a mental note of what not to ask them. So next week, we have got DJ Spawn. We have the potential of Cluck the Clown. We have the potential of the Missionaries. And we have some rappers and DJ you-know-who. What a fucking circus this is going to be. So that's next week. That's not this week.